How is a literature-based dissertation different from a research-based dissertation? How do you structure it? Is there a literature review chapter in it? What about the methodology chapter? Is there one of those? Keep watching because I will give you the answers to all of these questions and more. I'll also let you know about some of my free resources to help you with your own dissertation. So let's dive in. Firstly, what is a literature-based dissertation and how is it different from a standard, normal, research-based dissertation? In a literature-based dissertation, your entire dissertation is a literature review. Whilst a research dissertation has got a literature review in it, a literature-based dissertation is in its entirety a literature review. It's a supercharged literature review. It is a bigger, better, extended version of a literature review compared to the one that you might find in a research dissertation. And as such, there is no separate literature review chapter in it. You are not going to have a chapter called literature review because the entire thing is a literature review. It just doesn't make any sense to have a literature review chapter in a literature-based dissertation. Secondly, how do you structure a literature-based dissertation? The structure of a literature-based dissertation will look different from a research dissertation. Take a look at this comparison between a literature-based dissertation and a research-based dissertation. They are noticeably different, right? In a literature-based dissertation, you have an introduction followed by a series of different chapters, each exploring a particular theme or area around your topic or question. After that comes a discussion within which you draw all of that together and a conclusion where you wrap everything up. There's no methodology chapter and there's no literature review chapter. Let's go through each of the sections. In terms of your introduction chapter, here you present your research topic or question. You explain why that topic is important and you give a bit of background to it. You outline the key terms, definitions, concepts around your topic. You lay out your aims and objectives. You describe the approach that you took to reviewing the literature. And you give an overview of your chapter structure. After the introduction come your substantive chapters, your themed chapters, between 3 and 5 of them. Each of these chapters explores the literature around a particular element of your question or topic. It's difficult to talk about this in abstract terms, so let's have a look at an example of what the chapters in a literature-based dissertation might look like. Say you are a sociology or a criminology student and you're interested in looking at the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on domestic abuse. Your first chapter might explore the literature around domestic abuse before the pandemic. Your second chapter might draw on the literature about domestic abuse during the pandemic. Your third chapter might look at the literature around supporting victims during the pandemic. And a fourth chapter might explore the literature on policing domestic abuse during the pandemic. Then you would draw together your insights from each of those chapters in a discussion and conclusions chapter. This is where you would explore the ways in which the pandemic changed how we think about domestic abuse or how we respond to it. What do we need to do differently around domestic abuse? Does anything need to shift and change? And then you wrap that all up in your conclusion. Lastly, what about the methodology chapter? I haven't mentioned that. Literature-based dissertations do not have a separate methodology chapter. Let me repeat that. If you're doing a literature-based dissertation and if you are multitasking right now, put that other thing down and listen up. It is really important to understand this. Literature-based dissertations do not have a separate methodology chapter. Okay? Instead, you will write about your approach to your dissertation within the introduction chapter. You will have a section in that chapter where you write about things like how you found items of literature, what keywords did you use in your literature search, where did you look for that literature, How did you decide what items you were going to include and what items you were going to leave out? What did you do with the literature when you actually got it? Talk the reader through the process of your critical analysis of the literature. I have another video on critical analysis and I will link to that in the description. Also, how did you find more literature? Did you use techniques like citation searching and bibliographic mining? Again, I have another video on that too, which I will also link to in the description. So there you have it. Answers to 3 of the most common questions about literature-based dissertations. I hope you're a little bit clearer now about your own dissertation. I have lots of free resources to help you in your literature-based dissertation in my free student resource zone on my website. There's also a literature-based dissertation survival guide, which is a step-by-step walkthrough of the entire process of doing this kind of dissertation. So do go and check that out. I'll put the link to the free resources and the dissertation survival guide in the description too. I'll be back soon with more study tips, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of them.